We have a German Cup team, and it looks like somebody's going to fill the seat of the 42. All that and more coming up next. What is going on, everybody? Hope you are doing good today. All right, it looks like a team just popped up on Twitter, 3F Racing, and a lot of people were speculating if it was a real team or if it was another fake team that just popped up on Twitter. But Bob Pockrass has confirmed that they are a real team and they are going to compete. Let's look at this tweet from Bob Pockrass and what he had to say. This team plans to run some races near the end of this year, then part-time schedule next year with an eye on full-time Cup racing in 2024. Drivers and sponsors to be determined. So that wasn't a ton of information, so I looked for some more information, and I found this article from Speedway Digest. This article from Ethan Miller. 3F Racing aims to be the first German-owned NASCAR Cup Series team. Based on their website, they plan on running the number 30 next-gen Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. According to Hertz, the team will have an alliance with Richard Childress Racing and their engines will be built in Welcome, North Carolina. Hertz said of the RCR Alliance, you need to have a strong alliance entering the sport, not to run in the back. 3F Racing plans on competing in the final 5 races in the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series season, beginning with the round of 12 finale at the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval, where they plan on having a prestigious driver in the car for their debut. The driver lineup will be released at a later point as we are still in the last stages of funding with our partners and sponsors, Hertz said via email. Our driver for the Roval will be a 2-time 24 Hours of Le Mans winner with a strong European background, and for the remaining races, we will field a very experienced and well-known U.S. American NASCAR driver. So that was a great article from Ethan Miller at the ripe old age of 17. So check out that article if you get a chance, but it's really good. But it's really interesting that we now have a German team that is going to be part-time this year, part-time next year, and then they will look to go full-time in 2024 to go along with Hesselberg Racing. So now we have 2 international teams. So it's kind of cool that NASCAR is getting international. So yeah, pretty cool story. So from a new team to an older team, Petty GMS pretty much has been around, or some version of Petty Racing has been around since the beginning of time. But the Petty GMS number 42 looks like it is close to signing Noah Gragson to drive that 42. This according to The Athletic's Jordan Bianchi. He wrote an article that said they are really close to putting Noah Gragson in that car. And I've said all along that this makes the most sense. I said there's an outside chance they get Kyle Busch, but Noah Gragson is from Las Vegas. A lot of the sponsors line up with the sponsors that were on that 42, so it's just sort of a no-brainer that this would be where Noah Gragson goes. And to be totally honest, this is probably a good fit for Noah Gragson. He hasn't come in his few Cup races in that 16 car for Kaulig. He hasn't shown like a ton of what he can do. He definitely has shown what he can do in the Xfinity Series, but he's having a little bit of a hard time adjusting to the Cup Series. So this is a good spot where he can go and build up a resume in the Cup Series and show people what he can do. I'm a big believer in Noah Gragson's talent. I think he needs to mature just a little bit, but he seems to have calmed down a lot this half of the season. Of course, he had that dust up where everybody criticized him for wrecking a car in front of everybody on the road course, which was a fair critique. But since then, he has sort of cleaned up his act. Him and Ty Gibbs both raced clean for a win not too long ago, so he has done well, but this is a good spot for him to build up and build his resume as he goes full-time to Cup. But it does open the door and begs the question, who's going to fill the number 9 car over in Xfinity for Junior Motorsports? Just pick a driver, right? Anybody could fill in there. I mean, there are just so many people. And finally, before we sign off, the Busch family, Kyle Busch, Samantha Busch, and Brexton Busch, were in the Mall of America when the two groups of people had a skirmish and were fired. So sorry, she said, can't say but so much. But basically, they got out okay. If you want to know more about that, you can go to any of Samantha Busch's social media. She wrote a lengthy post about it, so you can check that out if you want to there. And also in some sad news, we lost Neil Castles. Neil Castles was a NASCAR driver. He competed in the 60s and 70s. Pretty solid driver. He finished 4th to David Pearson in the points, but he is also remembered for something else. He was a Hollywood stuntman. He got his stuntman credentials or his start doing Hollywood stuff in Greased Lightning. Of course, the Wendell Scott, which is why I'm wearing the t-shirt, Wendell Scott basically story. That's where he got his start, but he expounded on that from there, where he did some acting, he did some consulting. He was the director of stunt coordination for certain movies, so check out his IMDb or Wikipedia page. But definitely in this lifetime, he got as much as he could out of it. He was 87 years old when he left us, but cool story, and condolences to the family, because definitely sad to see another NASCAR legend and veteran pass away. All right, ended on another bummer, unfortunately, but that is all I've got for you today. If you like the content, feel free to subscribe down below. If you got a comment or question, leave it down in the comments. I'll try to get to as many as I can. And if you want one of the NASCAR Gonna NASCAR t-shirts, I will drop that link in the description here. And other than that, thanks for your time. Peace.